Sir, I guess Akshay has joined.
Yes, Aksa is joining. Assalamu alaikum, Aksa. Beta, how are you?
Sir, I'm fine.
Okay. Now, without wasting your time, what we are going to do, we are going to understand the second part of our unit number 1 of biology, that is classification. But when I used to teach the lesson of classification or biological classification, I start with the classification of matter in biology. But in your chemistry classes, you have studied that there are two types of matter, pure matter and impure matter. Pure matter is further divided into elements and compounds, and impure matter, this is also called mixture, which is further divided into solution, suspension, and colloids. And but in case of biology, when we talk about the classification in biological sciences, what does it mean? It means that there are basically four types of matter in biology. Number one, we talk about the first type of matter in biology. This is called living matter. Got it? We talk about the second type of matter in biology. This is called dead matter. Okay, are you getting the point? Okay, I'm just going to explain the things with a very, very simple way. The third type of matter in the field of biology basically is what? This is called non-living matter. The fourth type of matter, when you talk about the fourth type of matter in biology, this is called what? This is called semi-living. Okay, now I'm going to explain the biological classification. Basically, today we are going to understand the concept of biological classification. But in the field of biology, the matter is divided into four broad categories like living matter, dead matter, non-living matter, and semi-living matter. Now, what do you mean by living matter? In our previous class, we have studied. In our previous class, we have studied living matter are those organisms which keep some basic properties. And what are the properties? I have told you that the basic properties are see Mrs. Drainer. Okay, that was my topic that we have studied in our previous class. C, Mrs. Greena. What do you mean by C? When we talk about the C, C means cellular. Means each living organism is made up of cell, one or more cells. What do you mean by M? Beta, respond.
Movement.
Very good. Movement. Okay. What do you mean by R?
Reproduction.
Reproduction. Okay. Now, what do you mean by S?
Sensitivity.
Sensitivity. Very good, beta. Very good. Excellent. Sensitivity. Okay. What do you mean by G?
Growth.
Growth. Very good. Excellent. Growth. What do you mean by E? X.
Sir, R.
Okay. Now before growth there is R. Yes, respiration. What do you mean by R? Respiration. Excellent. Okay, what do you mean by
Of
excretion?
nutrition. Then nutrition.
Than nutrition, and for nutrition and
Adaptation.
adaptation. Okay, got it. Now these
Sir,
are, yes, beta,
I guess nutrition spelling is wrong.
Nutri, nutrition. Got it? Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, now what is the difference between living matter and non-living matter? Let's suppose all alive matters are living matter. They keep the properties of C. Mrs. Green. But after death, each living matter will be considered as dead matter. Okay, when you talk about dead matter, what's the meaning of that? Means living matter minus life characteristics or life activity. Means if a living matter without life will be considered as dead matter. For example, I'm a living matter because I have the properties of C. Mrs. Greener. Means these are the characteristics of life. Like I am made up of many cells. I can move. I can reproduce. I have the ability of sensitivity. I have the ability of growth. I have the ability of respiration. I have the ability of excretion. I have the ability of nutrition. I have the ability of adaptation. But after that means these properties or most of the properties will be diminished from my body. Now after that, or after removal of life processes, I will be considered as dead. When you talk about the non-living matter, when you talk about the non-living matter, how can you define the non-living matter? Okay, beta, the non-living matter, simple. Matter without the characteristics of life. Okay, these are called non-living matter. For example, what do you mean by that? For example, if I'm going to give you the example in different color, like this one. For example, rock, water, soil, etc., etc., etc. These are considered as non-living matter. But what about semi-living? When you talk about the semi-living matter, what's the meaning of that? What about semi-living matter? Beta, when you talk about the semi-living matter, there is a group of matter which is neither living or nor non-living. Means they are considered as the junction between living matter and non-living matter. Means they keep some properties of living matter and some properties of non-living matters. Inside the cells they behave like living matter, but outside the cell they do not show any characteristic of living matter. So matter is regarded as such kind of matter is regarded as what? The semi-living matter. And what are their examples? These are the examples: viruses, viroids, and prions. Got it? These three things, the viruses, viroids, and prions, they are considered as the semi-living matter. Okay? Now, my dear students, when we talk about the living matter, non-living matter, and dead matter, and the semi-living matter, now you must keep one more thing in your mind. Now, what about the living matter? The living matter, they are further grouped into 5 kingdoms. Okay, they are further grouped into 5 kingdoms. And before going to understand the concept of kingdom, now I'm not going in detail. They are further grouped into 5 kingdoms. What are the kingdoms? Okay, number one, kingdom Animalia. Number two, kingdom Plantae or kingdom Plantae. Number three, kingdom Mycota, which is also called kingdom Fungi or fungi. Singular is fungus. Number four, we talk about kingdom Protoctista. Protoctista, or this is also called,
Sir, can you write the second name of the fungi element kingdom?
that one, fungi.
Yes.
This is also called kingdom Mycota. Mycotae. The word myco means fungus. And the last kingdom that you will study, this is the 5 kingdom system has been introduced in the biological classification. The last kingdom system, this is called Monera, or this is also called Prokaryote. Got it? Now, it's a very, very concise thing that you can observe, that how can you classify the matter in the field of biology. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now it's very simple. After completing that thing, now you will be able to understand the concept of classification. Why we do perform classification? Let's suppose I'm just going to share my ebook here. Okay, why do we use classification? The characteristics and classification of living organisms. For example, if you are working in your kitchen and you want to find out some kind of spices, or you are making a tea and you want to add some sugar in the tea, but you don't have organized the things of your kitchen material, what will be the consequences? What will be the consequences? Definitely more time will be spent, the task will be more complicated, and might be you will lose your concentration to complete your task. So classification in any field is very much important. Why it's very much important? Because in each and every system needs some kind of classification to organize their data. And
And sir, might
yes, beta.
and sir, might you consider something as the sugar, or you can say salt the sugar?
Yeah,
You don't
definitely.
know.
You may use the salt instead of sugar. And what will happen in front of guest if you are going to represent your tea to your guest? What will happen? The consequences are very, very rigorous. That's why each class or each science or each field of the knowledge needs some kind of classification, because without classifying the material with an organized way, you are not able to understand the core knowledge of that science. Okay, now let's suppose I'm just going to read out the material from this. If we are going to understand the concept of and use of classification system, then you must keep 2 things or the key definitions. The species, basically species is the smallest unit of the classification. Okay, the one type of organism, the one specific type of organism. Let's suppose if you are going to classify the things in human being, uh, we have a wonderful classification system in our daily routine because we have our CNICs. In the schools, we have the school NICs. We have different kind of classrooms, and the classrooms keep the different kind of students, and each and every student has its own ID. Why we do have such kind of classification system? Just to find out the specific data, and we can analyze the material according to our wish list. In biological classification system, the smallest unit of the classification in biology, that is species. Basically, species, what is a specific definition of a species? Species is the smallest unit of biological classification system, and these are a species is a group of organisms that can reproduce to produce their fertile offspring. Like for example, uh, after the breeding of horse and donkey, we produce the mule. Mule is not considered as a species because they are, according to biological system, they are not the normal organisms. Though, so we do not consider them a species. Species is the smallest unit of biological classification system that can reproduce, and they can continue the life activities, and they can continue their generation. Got it? Is that clear? यहाँ तक चीज आप लोगों को समझ में आई?
Yes, sir.
ओके, स्पीशीज सबसे छोटा यूनिट है क्लासिफिकेशन का. जब स्पीशीज को जब हम मिलाते हैं तो फिर हमारे पास बड़े यूनिट बनते हैं, लेकिन स्पीशी के लिए एक शर्त लाजमी है कि उनमें रिप्रोडक्शन होना लाजमी है. एंड रिमेंबर, वी हैव अ वेरी 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 excellent classification system because our classification system based on binomial system. I'm just going to highlight that. Binomial system. What's the meaning of binomial? Bi means two. Nomial means names. Binomial system means our each organisms is classified as two names. According to biological classification system, each organism, each species has two names. Let's suppose, what is the name of human being in biology, or what is our scientific name, or what is our biological name?
Mammals.
We belong to a group of mammals, but what is our classification name? We are Homo sapiens. We are Homo
Homo
sapiens.
sapiens.
Homo basically gives us the indication of genus, and sapien is our species. Okay, आप ये अभी बड़े अच्छी तरीके से इसको और जो है ना बड़ी मजे से ये चीज समझेंगे कि बाइनोमियल सिस्टम रखा क्यों गया है. क्योंकि हर ऑर्गेनिज्म का जो ग्रुप है उसके दो नाम रख दिए गए. ठीक है, हमारे से बहुत ही क्लोजली रिलेटेड कौन सा ऑर्गेनिज्म है बायो के अंदर, बताएं भाई. ह्यूमन बीइंग से सबसे ज्यादा कंप्लीटली क्लोजली कौन सी चीज है जो बिल्कुल हमारी तरह दिखती है?
Animals.
एनिमल्स के अंदर ही. We belong to
Monkeys.
Monkeys. Because the genre or the genus of human being and monkeys are same. ये इस क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम के ऊपर हमें एक दो दिन हम लगाएंगे क्योंकि ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है. और स्कूल्स के अंदर जो है ना इसको ज्यादा फोकस नहीं दी जाती, बट डाइकोटोमिस की एंड क्लासिफिकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है बिकॉज द थिंग्स दैट यू स्टडी इन दिस यूनिट ये बाद के चैप्टर्स के अंदर भी बार बार इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा, स्पेशली इन्वायरमेंटल बायोलॉजी के अंदर इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा. यू कैन सी योर पास्ट पेपर्स. उन पास्ट पेपर्स में अगर आप देखेंगे ना तो बहुत सारी चीजें जो हैं वो बाइनोमियल क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम की ली गई है. ओके, any volunteer can read out the material that I have shown in front of you. Okay, yes beta. कौन पढ़ेगा यहाँ से? With a loud voice.
You do not need to be a biologist to realize that there are millions of different organisms living on the earth, but it takes a biologist to sort them into meaningful order. Example, to classify them.
Okay, good. There are many possible ways. Continue, please.
There are many possible ways of classifying organisms. You could group all aquatic organisms together or put all black and white creatures into the same group. However, these do not make very meaningful groups. A
Why?
seaweed and
Just
a
wait. Just wait. Okay. Let's suppose if you are the in charge of classification और आपने यही किया कि aquatic organisms को एक जगह रख दिया, ठीक है जी, और सॉइल पे रहने वाली चीजों को एक जगह रख दिया, तो ये तो बड़ा आसान तरीका है. तो ये क्यों बायोलॉजी के अंदर इस चीज को क्यों एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हम क्लासिफिकेशन में? व्हाई?
Sir, because they might not be from the same, they might not have same features.
Definitely.
They have the same colors, but they
That-
don't have the same features.
definitely, because in the aquatic environment, there are so many plants are there are so many prototypists are there might be one type or two type or different types of fungus are there are different type of बैक्टीरिया आर देयर. तो ये तो आपके पास डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनिजम्स उसके अंदर मौजूद हैं. वो तो एक पूरा आपका एक पूरा इन्वायरमेंटल यूनिट है. उस यूनिट के अंदर तो डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनिजम्स है. तो हम इस तरह से नहीं कर सकते कि हमने सिर्फ कहा कि ये पानी के अंदर के लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म इनको अलग कर दो और ये हवा में रहने वाले इनको अलग कर दो. नो, वो जो एक बिग पिक्चर आती है वो बाद में आती है. अभी आपको क्या करना है, स्मॉल उसके यूनिट से स्टार्ट करना है. और यहाँ पे इसके अंदर देखें, इन्होंने एक्सप्लेन भी कर दिया. ये देखें, however these do not make very meaningful groups. Seaweed and porpoise are both aquatic organisms. A magpie and zebra are both black and white, but neither of these pairs has much in common part from being living organisms, and later the two being animals. These would be artificial system of classification. Means कि आप artificial system के जरिए क्लासीफाई तो कर सकते हो, बट इट इज नॉट वेरी मच हेल्पफुल. अब आपके लिए एक बहुत ही नेचुरल तरीके से जो क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम बनाया गया. और बेटा रिमेंबर, ये जो क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम है ना, ये बहुत मेहनत के बाद प्रोड्यूस किया गया. ठीक है. A biologist look for the natural system of classification using important features which are shared by the large group as possible. अब वो कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं जो कि हम यहाँ पे कर सकते हैं? आई एम अगेन शेयरिंग माय व्हाइट बोर्ड. ओके बेटा, इस व्हाइट बोर्ड का आप लोगों ने पिक्चर ले लिए?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. नाउ बेटा, what I'm going to do, what are the basic parameters of biological classification system? अब मैं यहाँ पे एक बड़ी अच्छी सी इधर हेडिंग डालने जा रहा हूँ और I will write here parameters of biological
Sir,
yes
sir, I have to leave because अब 6 पे मेरी केमिस्ट्री की क्लास शुरू होने वाली
बस
है.
मैं भी 2 मिनट के बाद ये बंद कर दूंगा क्लास. ठीक है ना?
अच्छा,
पैरामीटर्स ऑफ
ठीक.
बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम. ठीक है. पैरामीटर्स ऑफ बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम. व्हाट आर द पैरामीटर्स ऑफ बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम? अब यहाँ पे बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम के अंदर हमारे पास क्या क्या चीज़ें सेम होनी चाहिए, ये सिर्फ हम याद रखेंगे. इसको कंटिन्यू हम कर करेंगे. ठीक है. सबसे पहले नंबर 1 साइटोलॉजी. ओके, स्टडी ऑफ सेल. कि सेल्स को हम देखेंगे. लेट्स सपोज एनिमल एंड प्लांट सेल्स एंड फंगल सेल्स, दे आर their basic things are very much common, but they are very different from each other. Cytology. Number 2, the second parameter, biochemistry. Let's suppose I'm saying plant cells, they have the cell wall. Fungus also keep the cell wall. Now, but we are saying fungus are not like plants. क्यों? क्योंकि दोनों की बायोकेमिस्ट्री डिफरेंट है. कैसे डिफरेंट है? द प्लांट सेल इज मेड अप ऑफ सेलुलोज, फंगल सेल इज बेसिकली मेड अप ऑफ चिटिन. ठीक है जी. दोनों की जो केमिकल कंपोजिशन है वो डिफरेंट है. फिर आपके पास आ जाती है एनाटॉमी एंड मॉर्फोलॉजी, एनाटमी एंड मॉर्फोलॉजी। एंड इंशाल्लाह कल हम अपनी क्लास थोड़ी सी जल्दी अर्ली स्टार्ट कर लेंगे, 3 PM से स्टार्ट करेंगे ताकि हमारी पूरी 1 घंटे तक का सेशन साथ साथ चले। ठीक है ना बेटा?
Okay, sir.
एनाटमी एंड मॉर्फोलॉजी, इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल अपीयरेंस ऑफ द बॉडी। ठीक है, फिर उसके साथ साथ हम देखते हैं जेनेटिक्स। लेट्स सपोज जेनेटिक्स कैसे बेटा? because the quantity of chromosomes in each organism, in each type of species is different. We have 46 chromosomes. ठीक है जी। monkeys के अंदर एक ग्रुप है जिसके अंदर 48 chromosomes है। बैक्टीरिया के अंदर, बैक्टीरियल सेल में ओनली 1 क्रोमोसोम होता है, यीस्ट में 2 क्रोमोसोम्स होते हैं। द क्वांटिटी ऑफ क्रोमोसोम इज डिफरेंट, देयर जेनेटिक डीएनए का स्ट्रक्चर उसका डिफरेंट है। ठीक है, जेनेटिक्स। ठीक है, जेनेटिक्स के साथ साथ एक और भी आजकल हम चीज देख रहे हैं, दैट इज एम्ब्रियोलॉजी, के उसके अंदर जो बेबी डेवलप हो रहा है वो किस तरह से हो रहा है। एक और जो पैरामीटर आजकल रखा गया है वो क्या रखा गया है बॉस? वो इसकी एम्ब्रियोलॉजी के साथ साथ एक रखी गई है इवोल्यूशनरी हिस्ट्री, कि किस ग्रुप से ताल्लुक है एक लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स का। इंशाल्लाह वी विल keep continue this class tomorrow, and thank you very much. Is there any kind of ambiguity? Please ask me now, and tomorrow we will start our class inshallah at 3 PM. ठीक है बेटा?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Allah
Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.